So who's ready for a bloodbath? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess the Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with episode 9 of Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War. So before anything, I don't know if we talked about this last time, but since we're here in the new year, I want to bring it up real quick here. This first part of the series, because 1,000-Year Blood War was split up into separate parts that aired separately. This first part is 13 episodes. And so since we're on episode 9, I felt like this is a good point to address this. We are not going to be continuing right into the next part. What we do on this channel is basically in seasonal shows and stuff. Whenever we finish a season, we take a break. It's a way to keep things fresh, keep things at a good point to where I don't even possibly start to become sick of these shows. I want to have those breaks in between as well because I like to have time in between them. I don't believe in binging. It's something I've never really enjoyed, and every time I do it, it tends to lessen the shows that I'm doing it with. So I'm trying to pace it out. So we're not going to go right into the next part of 1,000-Year Blood War. Once we get to episode 13 and finish out this part, we're going to replace it with something else for now. And we'll come back to 1,000-Year Blood War at a future point. But we'll get to that when we get to that. I just wanted to mention that here real quick. So, first Bleach of the year, and where we left off was pretty interesting. Because Ichigo ended up going up with Squad Zero to basically God's series of castles and everything. Squad Zero has their own castles up there too. And he's at the one guy's where Rukia, Renji, Byakuya, I think all three of them, are getting healed. In this, there's two baths. It's like you go back and forth between them. One of them is blood and everything, and it cleanses them, basically. But Ichigo's up there with him right now. There was a post-credit scene, apparently, last time that I just would not have thought to check for. It wasn't much. It just showed the Soul King opening his eyes and all. Okay. But we also had Kukaku and Ganju shown again. And it seems like they were with Ishin Kurosaki, Ichigo's father. And they were implying familial relation. So they were calling Ishin their uncle and everything. So that's really interesting. I wonder if we'll get more context on that or if we're going to have to wait. There's also the mysterious person who had saved them, Kisuke and Orihime and Chad and everyone back then, and took out the other guy. I was thinking that might have been Ishin back then, but now I'm not sure. I haven't gone back and watched it. But it's I guess that wouldn't really make sense if he was with Kukaku and Ganju and all. So I'm not 100% sure who that was. I was wondering that based on the voice and everything, but it's I don't know. It's been a long time since I watched the original Bleach, so it might just be someone I'm not thinking of, I guess. Keep in mind, I believe I said this before, but there's a lot that I won't remember. And that kind of brings me into the other thing. Along with Kukaku and Ganju, there were some other people there who I was wondering, who are these people? Apparently they were in the Fullbring arc. I remember almost nothing about that arc. And that kind of goes into it, because that arc is just, the most forgettable to me. I just remember practically nothing about it. So I basically have no knowledge of who those characters are, despite the fact that I've clearly seen them before because I've seen all of the original Bleach series. So yeah, I could not even begin to tell you. I remember just practically nothing about that arc. It's really that like bad for me in terms of how much of an impact it gave to me. um but yeah, so if there's stuff that I need to be reminded on and all from the past, as long as it's not a spoiler for the future, please remind me. But yeah, a lot of stuff went down. We still have the entire thing that Ichigo is, a Quincy and all. So it's like a lot of things we have to kind of touch on right now. And I don't know what we're going to get this episode. I don't know what we're going to get in general. I guess we'll just have to see. So, let us get into this and hope for the best. Hold up just a second there. Before you click that link down in the description below to go to today's reaction, I just wanted to take this moment real quick to remind you of all the awesome content we have on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions, with 2 on Wednesday. We also have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I do pre-record them during the week, but upload them on the weekend. And don't forget about all the awesome gaming content over on the Princess of Gaming channel. Every single day of the week, we have some awesome Let's Plays for you. A bunch of different things to check out, and more coming in the future. And don't forget to click that subscribe button or like the video if you really enjoy the content I'm putting out. There will be more to come in the future. In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in, and let's get this going. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So talk about doing a complete 180 on a character. Because it's like, I'm not saying that I never would have thought Unohana would be like necessarily this strong. I mean, Squad 1 captain and everything, it's like I kind of assumed she would be. But the bigger surprise is more that she's like the first Kenpachi. So this implies that Kenpachi Zaraki, the Kenpachi part is a title. But we're not told in this episode what it means unless it was like part of those things that were written that we, aren't privy to know about. Obviously if it's a spoiler, don't tell me in the comments. I really hate when dubs do that. When it's like, oh, the screen openly has like, kanji and stuff on it, but we're not going to actually, put a subtitle on there to tell people what it says. Even though, like, we're literally dubbing this for the sake of an American audience who can't understand what that says. It's like there's no logic behind not adding a subtitle to that. It's so fucking stupid. And the fact that it's still happening, the fact that these studios are still doing it, it's ridiculous. It should be a requirement. Because what if any of that kanji and everything, what if any of that text was very important to understand what was going on? Mind you, I mean, I got the basic gist of everything that was going on, but still. Anyway, I guess let's just talk about it. So the episode kind of had 2 separate parts to it. The stuff with Unohana and Zaraki, which was the B plot for sure. And then the A plot, which was Ichigo and Renji continuing on in their healing. Both Ichigo and Renji had finished with the baths, which rejuvenated their spirits, healed their injuries and all. And now they went on to the next castle, which is all about food, all about eating. And as Renji points out, it's to restore your strength, restore your energy, etc., etc. Now that your body's been healed. And it's like, I know Ichigo can kind of be a dumbass sometimes, but I felt like that was extremely obvious. Like, come on, you're not that dumb, are you? Like, even Renji figured that out, like, pretty instantly. It just makes sense. You can't really go straight into training without, healing and fixing up your body first. I feel like that was, like, extremely, like, obvious. But yeah, I had guessed that there was something up with the food itself, and there absolutely was. Um, the food itself was like stacked with spiritual energy and pressure, which was added into their own, and not only rejuvenates them, but makes them stronger. And now they're heading to the next location, where we have the one guy who is apparently the creator of the Zanpakuto. Because every member of Squad Zero is in Squad Zero because they made a notable, massive contribution to the Soul Society. This woman, who I don't remember her name, and I don't think it actually said it, it showed like a title card for her, but it was in Japanese. Can't read that. What's the point? I'm so pissy about that. But yeah, she apparently created the fake souls, the Kikons or Yukons or whatever the fuck they're called. um, Cone, basically. Like how Cone was brought to life with the soul candy and everything that was made from those Geekon. I think it's Geekons or Geekone. Either way, I think it's Geekone. But yeah, it's like we learned about that like really early on in the series, but now we know that she's the one who created them. So that's really interesting, and it makes sense why Cone was with them now, because that felt entirely random, just extremely random to have Cone there. But no, it actually makes sense now knowing that, because it's kind of relevant to his existence. So yeah, this next guy created the um, created the Zanpakuto, which is very interesting for a number of reasons. I feel we're going to get some heavy lore with him regarding like what existed prior to that and exactly how he came to create the Zanpakuto. So, meanwhile, we have Shunsui Kiraku taking over as the head of the Soul Society, the Squad Zero captain. He's choosing to have two lieutenants, which is kind of unheard of. And he's basically flipping off the council and telling them it's like, you put in the rules that the captains alone got to declare their lieutenant. So it's like, I'm the one who gets to choose. I'm just telling you this is what I'm doing. You don't actually get to have a say here by your own rules. And it's like, they can't argue against that if that was the rule they put in place. On top of that, he wants Zaraki to get stronger. And they're like, no, but what if he turns against us? We can't even get him stronger. We've been, pushing back on his training because of that purpose. And he's like, bitch, if we get invaded again, we're going to die. We will all die. We will not survive this again. He needs to get stronger or we're fucked. And so he sets up the training between Zaraki and Unohana, whose name, I guess, is Yachiru Unohana, but apparently she chose that name. So what is the relevance there with Zaraki? Because his lieutenant is Yachiru. I have a lot of questions. But their training just basically involves them going down into the prison or whatever it is and fighting to the death. Though she's kind of saying internally that she has no plans to kill him because he gets stronger when he gets close to death. And that's the goal here. Meaning she's probably going to be the one to die. And she probably knows this. And I'm sure Isane and Yachiru knew it too, which is why it showed their perspectives as well, and showed Isane crying. She probably knew that she would never see Unohana again at that point. So yeah, it's I think she knows she's gonna die. She's made peace that she's going to die. And she's just trying to train him, to get him as close to death as possible without actually killing him. Which kind of makes me think, did she actually stab him through the throat there? Like, was that real and she just somehow healed and, like, reversed things or somehow? Or something? Because I know healing is kind of her thing, at least from what we knew of her. Clearly a lot more going on now, but yeah, I'm just very curious to see what they do with this now. Because I feel like we're about to get like a big lore drop on her and learn a lot more about Unohana than we ever knew. She was part of the original 13 Court Guard squad. The squads. She was one of the first ones ever, which were considered the strongest ever. So this is going to be a really interesting fight. I guess we'll see how it goes down. But yeah, quite an episode to come back to. Quite some reveals and everything. There's only like a few episodes left though. So, like I said, after we finish this quote-unquote season of Thousand Year Blood War, we are going to be taking a break. And we'll come back to it. So hopefully it doesn't leave off on too big of a cliffhanger. Though, if it does, actually that makes it even better. We shall see. I'm very excited by this, though. I'm glad to be back to this after, a couple weeks off and all. I'm excited to see how this set of episodes ends, and exactly how much more intense the rest of the preparations up with Squad Zero are going to get. They're definitely setting us up for a lot, and it's going to be pretty crazy, I feel. So, let's just keep on keeping on. As always, like I said, no spoilers for the future, please. If there's anything I missed or whatnot, or misunderstood, please, you can let me know that, as long as it doesn't spoil anything from the future. But all of that being said, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.